Hit draft. All right, so my mic should be on.
I can hear you loud and clear. So.
On Skype?
Yep.
All right, well, everyone's going to make sure they can hear you. So, hey, everyone. If you can hear me, that's great. If you can hear Joe, tell me.
I don't know. I'd be concerned. I hadn't started talking yet.
If you can. And then in a couple seconds, we will start a 5-minute timer for when we will start the draft. Tolly, it is not an hour from now. It was scheduled for 5:30. I'm doing it at 5:30. So, can everyone hear Joe?
Hello, hello. Check 1. It takes 1 to tango. Check 2. It takes 2 to tango. Check 3. It takes 3 to tango. Hello, and welcome to Radio Broadcasting with Joe Vettery.
All right, so everyone's excited about seeing you. Alex, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. And everyone who I didn't say was already here, Ollie, CJ, Tolly, T-Shen, all you guys, welcome. The timer up there is accurate. As soon as that timer runs out, I'll start the 1 minute and 30 seconds. It'll be Tolly's pick, and we will get right into it. I have to test a couple of things with the softwares that I'm using to make sure they're working correctly. And it looks like we're good. So that's great. Everything looks like it's good to go. Currently drafting is just the number of the person who is going to be currently drafting, as you can see on the side. So if your number is displayed there, that's you.
Are you on Twitch right now too, or are you on Discord?
Me?
Yeah.
Twitch? Well, I'm on both, but...
Oh, okay. Well, if I can open up the Twitch, I can see the chat.
Great, you should do that, because people are talking to you.
Yeah, that's why half the reason I'm not responding is because I didn't think to do that yet.
Can we do an updated friend code thing? Yes, but after. We don't need to do that this minute, but yes, we'll update that part of the document, the Discord, later. Right now, it's time for the draft, so that's what we're about in 3 minutes. How was my birthday? My birthday was good. Had board game night with my friends, my Frisbee friends.
Ooh, that's fun.
Mm-hmm. There was some merrymaking and some board gaming and some games that didn't have boards, like Smash Bros. And stuff, so it was good. Good times were had by all. Where should you put our picks? So you can put your pick either in the draft part, the draft channel of the Discord, I will see it there, or in the Twitch chat, I will see it there. If you put it in the general spot in the Discord or anywhere else, I will not see it. Nothing I can do about it. Those are the two places I have open. You should see the setup. It requires 3 screens right now and 2 different computers, so you should see the setup. So please put it in the draft section of the Discord channel, the Discord draft channel, or in the Twitch chat. Either one I can see. And it looks like Tolly's here, and T-Shen's here, so we're good on that. Soul's here, so we got our first, and Ollie's here, so good. We got our first, 5 pickers here. David has not shown up yet, but hopefully he makes an appearance before his 6th pick. Alex, I have seen. Cryo, I have not yet seen, and Nick, I have not yet seen, so. But Nick's got a little while. Nick's got 10 minutes before his pick, so. So he'll be okay. So, Joe, before we get started, have you opened the Twitch?
I did open the Twitch.
All right, Joe, tell me which of the 10 team names is your favorite.
Ooh, that's we've got the Ipswich Fernapes, the Peruvian Cubones. Ooh, that's cool. The MK Don fans, Wisconsin Whimsicots. That's good. The Missouri Magnazones, South Country Scallopies, New York Empoleon, British Bruxish, Alaskan Bullwurmples, and the Philadelphia Fions. Ooh, that's a toss-up between British Bruxish and Philadelphia Fions, but I'm going to have to give it to Bruxish. Wow.
Yeah, it's hard. That one's a tough one.
If I can say the word, I'd say I'd give it to British Bruxish. Bruxish because that's a funny pun and I enjoy it.
The British Brooksish. Yeah, that's a toughie.
Brexit.
Dude, we should have a prize for best team name voted by the league at the end of the season. But yeah, no, my personal favorite is definitely the Alaskan Bullworm Bulls. That one's great.
It is definitely that deserves a shout out. I love SpongeBob references.
Yeah, and he's from Alaska, so like, there's no pro sports teams over there, so you might as well like get it in there while you can, you know.
Yep.
So, the timer is expired, which makes the draft officially starting. It is 5:30. We'll start the first pick overall, which is the MK Don fans and Coach Noctali. So, Tali, wherever you want to put your chat, or your pick, whether it's in Twitch chat or in the Discord, either one, tell us your pick, and we will get this underway. Joe and I will be updating the Google Sheet, which is !draft. You can see the whole Google Sheet there, everything. So we'll be updating it pick by pick. And Joe, we have our first pick already coming in. It's quick.
Oh.
It's
Oh.
scary. And apparently I'm in Generation Red and Blue. So give me a sec. Let me fix this. Generation Sun and Moon, but there's no Ferrothorn. What the heck? Well, Ferrothorn's the first pick.
Oh, there it is.
Why is it not working?
Charlie has picked
Search.
Ferrothorn, and Ferrothorn is in what tier?
Ferrothorn is tier 1, Joe. So Tali's first tier 1 pick, I don't know why that took me so long to do. Tali's first tier 1 pick is a scary, scary Pokemon. Definitely something that I had my eye on. I loved it last season when I was using it. And it's super defensive. Iron Barb is a great ability. Nothing bad to be said about it. It's just a good Pokemon all around. So with that, we are going to let our second pick start. So we're going to be drafting pick number 2. So the Arubian Cubones and Coach T-Shen, it is your turn to draft. You've got your minute and 30 seconds on the clock. And yeah, I think Ferrothorn's a very solid first overall pick for sure.
I agree, 100%.
What?
Oh, we got.
Oh,
pick was it?
Next pick is.
I beat you to it.
You did. Sorry, I didn't. I was updating the Google Sheet, trying to keep up to date with that. So tier 1 pick in Landorus Therian form. So second overall pick. That's a D. Landorus Therian form, a classic OU Pokemon. Intimidate, always a great ability. Nobody ever says no to a well-played Landorus T, except the opponent. Can be run Scarf, can be run defensive with Rocky Helmet, Assault Vest. You can use it as a knockoff user, Stealth Rock setter. It gets U-turn, it gets all sorts of things. And with the Z crystals in this league being any Z crystal on any Pokemon, this thing can be really scary with a Z Fly or something crazy like that.
Z Fly.
Dude, it's a real thing. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. I meant to grab that and move it over there. So
that's nothing to sneeze at.
It's nothing to sneeze at, yo. Yeah, we're getting back into that right now. So currently, we are going to have our third pick of the night, and it is going to go to Coach Soul, or Soul Eater Zeo, of the South County Scolopedes. So we've got a couple of tier 1 picks out of the way, and not a bad thing to do early, you know, get those tier 1 picks. But this league, you do not have to draft in tier order in any way. So you could draft your tier 5 pick right here in the first round if you so chose. Nobody is telling you not to. And in fact, I'd be very surprised if we make it through round 1 with only tier 1 picks. And not to mention, people have their mega choices, which is technically out of tier. You get 1 mega throughout the entire draft.
You know, Robert, I was hearing the buzz around, and I hear the Alaskan Bullwormples are going to draft their tier 5 pick in the first draft.
Ooh.
First round.
Call-outs on Cryo.
That's just word on the street.
Word on the street. Word in the... That's what you read on the bathroom wall.
Top-notch tier 5 Pokemon.
What is this? That's not what
I
want.
love me some good
Gonna
Arbok.
got to strike twice with his first legendary he ever caught in Red and Blue, Zapdos. Another tier 1 Pokemon. Great pick. I had my eye on Zapdos. That's a snipe if I've ever seen one. Definitely a solid pick early in the draft.
Indeed.
And
Defogger, you've got access to Heat Wave, HP Ice.
yeah, it can have Roar. It can have some really interesting little tech moves in there. Ancient Power is a great move that it can run. Discharge or Volt Switch. Obviously access to a Volt Switcher is always a good thing. So let me get up the next timer and keep this going because we are going to have to make sure we keep going relatively quickly in this draft. And moving on to the next draft pick. This is going to be hard for me to update. I have so many things to update, guys. I've seen a couple of new follower notifications. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I haven't been able to acknowledge those today, and so I'm just going to say thank you as we're doing this. I've got 10 different things I'm trying to do, so bear with me tonight. But I do encourage you to come back. I do viewer battles all the time on the channel, so if you do come back and want to hang out and do some viewer battles, I will absolutely thank you for your follows then. When Discord isn't loading so you can see the tiers. Ollie Boy, if you need to see the tiers, it's in the Google Sheet. !draft will have access to that. You can all take a look at it, see what the tiers are and everything like that. Because it is your pick, the Ipswich Infernape's first pick of the TBL Season 2 Twitch Battle League. If anyone wants to watch these team builders and videos, they're going to be on my YouTube channel, !YouTube, and you can get the link to that and subscribe. They will start next week, the weekend of October 13th. To 15th. Ollie Boy says he wants Protean Greninja. So in this league, we have split up the different Greninjas into different picks. So Protean Greninja is a tier 1 pick. So first 4 Pokemon.
Greninja is also a tier 1 pick.
Yes, Battle Bond is also tier 1. But Torrent is tier 3, I believe. So still getting access to the Greninja skills, moves, and everything, but tier 3 pick. So, Joe, how do you feel about a Protean Greninja as we get this next pick underway?
Protean Greninja is always a good choice. It's been in... It had its time in Ubers, right?
It did, I believe. Gen 6.
So it was obviously useful for at least a little bit. I know it's a little out of the meta right now, but because a lot of people are excited about using Battle Bond, even though it's not as versatile as Protean Greninja. So I think it's a good choice. It's not a bad first choice by any means. Ice Beam, Gunk Shot could be mixed, run Hasty. If you feel like it, some people want to run a Scarf. Just make sure you outspeed everything that comes on the board.
Yeah. So Joe, we do have our next pick in very quickly, and I was told to read this directly from the Discord. So it says, "Ya boy that brings Gigavolt Havoc." See what I did there? Tapu Koko, Joe.
And who's that going to?
That is going to the Philadelphia Phiones and Coach CJ Beastly.
Tapu Koko is a tier 1?
Tapu Koko is a tier 1. All the Tapus are tier 1 picks, yes.
As they should be.
As they deserve to be. So we will get our 6th pick, and Coach David1993 of the British Brooksish, Joe's favorite team name. Here in the first round now, just for those who don't know, you get this... I could say the name of the team, but I can't speak after that. This league is going to be 11 Pokemon deep, so each team will get 11 total picks. It's a snake-based draft, so we go down from 1 to 10 and then back up from 10 to 1. After round 6, we are going to take a small break so Joe and I can get some water, get a little bit of time to make sure everything is still working and set up, and then we'll come right back. It'll only be like a couple of minutes long, so don't worry too much about that. But we are still waiting on Coach David. So David, if you're here, I know you said you'd be here, so I was talking to you earlier today. He told me what pick he wanted first, so I will honor that and give him his first overall pick if he doesn't show, but he hasn't told me what he wants second. So if he doesn't show by the second pick, he has to get auto-drafted, which would be unfortunate. And I will honor his first overall pick. He's in Discord, but he's not posting in the draft channel, and if he doesn't post in the draft channel, I can't see it. So David, post in the draft channel, not in the general channel. I'm not looking at that. But time's going to expire here. That's okay. David has told me his first overall pick, and Joe, we're stepping out of tier 1 for a minute.
Whoa. Really?
Yes, we are stepping all the way down to tier 3 with Galvantula.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
Now,
That's a good pick.
David told me this earlier that is the first pick he wanted, and I will honor that he said that to me. He told me in time. So Galvantula gone in round 1. The next pick is going to be going to the Wisconsin Whimsicots and Alex Cool Rocket as the coach. But going back to Galvantula, Joe, best sticky webber in the game, base 108 speed. Compound Eyes makes it just hit thunders for days. I drafted that last season and it was a monster. So it was a lot of fun to play with Galvantula. So going back to tier 1, Joe, with Alex Cool Rocket's pick, Celesteela will be our next pick in this draft. So a lot of tier 1s going early. Which I guess I expected. These are the best Pokemon, and you want to make sure your first overall pick is something that you can base your team around. How do you feel about Celesteela? Yeah, Joe, people are noticing that Tapu Lele is still on the board. And my pick's coming up pretty soon.
Celesteela is a cool Pokemon. I play a lot of random battles, and it's come in handy with the weakness policy, especially. Give it Atomize, and get it able to take Fire Blast by any means, and you can really set up pretty well.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It's got access to Stealth Rocks, right? Stealth Rocks, Leech Seed.
I don't know if it has access to Stealth Rocks. Definitely has access to Leech Seed.
Yeah. Some good type coverage there. Fire Blast. It might get Thunderbolt. If I remember correctly, it gets Thunderbolt. But I know I see it with Fire Blast a lot, so.
Just a heads up that it is Alaskan Bull Wurmples and Cryo Predator's pick. I have not seen him anywhere. So that's unfortunate. He may get auto-drafted, and if he gets auto-drafted, his pick is going to be Tier 4 Beware, and you don't want to see that in the first round. So
beware of that pick.
Ooh, we're getting into it. Getting started early. Let's go. Round 1.
It's nothing to sneeze at.
It's nothing to sneeze at. But I haven't seen him, and I hope he does show. He has not told me what he would want his first pick to be. So he's got about 30 seconds before he will get auto-drafted.
That would be very unfortunate.
It would be very unfortunate. Now, Joe, as we get in towards my pick, which is next, and the New York Empoleon, I didn't even consider Tapu Lele. Because I said, there's no way Tapu Lele makes it down to me. But we are going to see Beware go here in round 1 as an auto pick for Tier 4. Now note, he does have a couple of abilities to pick up and change this Pokemon around, and since it's Tier 4, if he shows up later, he will have the ability to grab some good Tier 1s and stuff like that. So, that should be fine. He shouldn't have any trouble rounding his team out in that way. So, hopefully he does come pretty soon. But it is my turn to pick, Joe, and I do need some of the clock here because I hadn't thought Tapu Lele was going to be available. And so I didn't even consider putting it on my team. And so it's hard to pass. It is. I've played with Tapu Lele a lot. I'm super comfortable with it. I love the Pokemon. But I think we're going to try something different this time, Joe. I think I'm going to stick to the plan. Stick to the plan that I had made. And we are going to go with a Tier 2 pick. First Pokemon coming out of Tier 2. And that's going to be a little Pokemon that I know and love near and dear to my heart. Infernape. Infernape, a great mixed attacker. It gets priority on both sides of physical and special. Iron Fist, a great ability. You can run it with Stealth Rocks as a lead. You can run it Scarf. You can run it. It gets U-Turn. It gets all sorts of fun coverage moves like Rock Slide, Earthquake, Thunder Punch. So I think this is a really solid first round pick for me. It's what I had planned. I had not considered Tapu Lele at all. So it's going to stay on the table. And if the Missouri Magnestones and Nick, who's not here either that I'm aware of, don't get the draft that he wants, Tapu Lele will come right back to me in round 2.
That's true. That's very true.
So my pick.
That's dangerous, man.
Yeah, I could still get that. But Nick, it is your pick. That's not where I wanted that number to show up. There we go. Um, Nick's on the Discord. Well, Nick, you got to pick your Pokemon. You have one right now and then one around the wheel. So you get a minute and 30 seconds for each one, so no rush on the second. But you do have your minute and a half going for the 10th overall pick in the first round. So just as we get towards the end of this first round, Joe, quick recap for the stream. If you want to see the picks as they're going, !draft and go into the Google Doc, and you can see the picks as they're being picked in the draft tab, or you can look at the teams as they build themselves out in the teams tab. But we've got Ferrothorn, Landorus Therian, Zapdos, Protean Greninja, Tapu Koko, Galvantula, Celesteela, Beware, Infernape, and Nick just picked.
Tell me what he picked, Robert.
I'm going to put this on the screen before I say anything. Nick just dipped all the way to tier 5.
Whoa!
And picked Barbaracle. Barbaracle?
Okay.
I don't even know how to say that Pokemon's name.
I call it Barbacle.
Barbaracle.
Barbaracle?
That's what it's spelled like. So, Joe, how do you feel about this pick at the end of round 1?
You know, it's a classic shell smasher, but I don't know if I would have dipped down to tier 5 for a first pick. Hey, maybe he's got some trick up his sleeve, and I commend him on that effort if he does. You know me, I like playing with funky Pokemon, and you know if he's got some trick that he wants to pull and he wants to pull it off well, then he's gonna do it. So I'll just gotta stop him there.
Yeah, just a reminder, Nick, to only pick the first Pokemon because there's a tiny bit of time between rounds. So just a heads up, but that's fine. You put it in the Discord, so nobody can see it anyway. But we're gonna get into round 2. Currently drafting is gonna be Nick again. I'm not even gonna turn his time because he did tell me his second pick. And he could have done this in either order, so you could argue that this Barbaracle would be his second pick and this other Pokemon would be his first pick. But he's going to grab Scizor. Regular Scizor. He's not saying it's Mega Scizor.
Okay.
And regular Scizor is still a tier 1 Pokemon.
Interesting.
But he's not going to lock himself into an item with this Pokemon. So, Joe, how do you feel about that in a quick round 2 pick?
Definitely not a bad pick. Classic Defogger. Technician's a great ability, and you can put on some bulk when you need to. Very limited weaknesses to just fire.
Yeah.
So that's nothing to sneeze at.
Nothing to sneeze at.
nothing to scissor at either.
All right, so it's my pick, and once again, Joe, we are in a similar situation to last time, where I had all this plan, and my plan did not include Tapu Lele.
It did not.
It didn't. And I don't want to give it to anybody else because it scares me. Mm-hmm. But I also want to stick to my plan because I had this plan and I'm excited about it. And it's a team I wanted to use.
Okay.
And so I'm going to stick to my plan. And like being the first person and only person so far to draft out of tier 2, I'm going to be the first person to draft their Mega, lock myself in. So I'm going to pick Mega Venusaur as my first, that's going to not work, as my first and only Mega pick, and as the first Mega pick of the draft. So Mega Venusaur, thick fat, hits like a truck, can be run physical or special if you really wanted to. I mean, obviously it's a better special attacker than physical attacker, but base 100 physical attack is not a problem for me. Gets access to Knockoff, Leech Seed, Synthesis for reliable recovery. You can get Sludge Bomb, Giga Drain. You could run HP Fire or HP anything, really, depending on what the weak is. So this thing can sit down and wall Pokemon. So I think I'm sticking to my plan. I'll leave Tapu Lele to somebody else this time. It was a lot of fun, but we're gonna keep going with the plan. So the next draft goes to the Alaskan Wurmples and Cryo. I still haven't seen him. So I'm hoping that he comes and drafts. I was told he was here, but I haven't seen him. Alex, you're jumping the gun on this. It's not your pick. Dude, Fury Cutter Venusaur? Or Alex.
Oh man, Fury Cutter, Venusaur, 100%. New meta.
New meta. Fury Cutter Mega Venusaur. How's it going, String Bean? Welcome to the stream. Whose turn is it, guys? If you ever want to know whose turn it is currently drafting, as a number next to it, that number corresponds to the number next to the draft order. So currently it says 8, so that go down to number 8. It's the Alaskan Bull Wurmples and Cryo Predator's turn. So you can always check. I keep that updated as best I can. And hopefully Cryo picks something. I don't want to auto-draft him twice. That would be unfortunate. Should he get auto-drafted, though, he does get auto-drafted into Donphan, a Tier 3 Pokemon. Which is not a bad Pokemon to have. Rapid Spinner sets up rocks, defensive Pokemon. Again, not drafting his Tier 1s and 2s, so he can still round out his team with those as he needs to. Access to Priority and Ice Shard and Knockoff, Stab, Earthquake. So if he does get auto-drafted, which it looks like he will, because I haven't seen anything from him, he's going to get Donphan. And, I mean, the teams that get auto-drafted don't come out so bad. We've seen it before. We saw that Chansey Celesteela auto-draft last time.
I'm just laughing at Noctali. She's mad that we keep drafting everybody's mascots that aren't on the appropriate team.
Well, hopefully, we'll see about my mascot as time goes on. But Alex, Cool Rocket, it is now your pick. I know you said a pick before. It was not picked, so if you would like that Pokemon, you are welcome to draft it. I'll be really upset if you draft it, because I wanted it. But nothing I can do about it. That's how drafting works. So if you would like to just repost that in the... Yes, you still want that Pokemon. Alright, so Alex Cool Rocket has taken my favorite Pokemon, as people know, Milotic. An unfortunate thing for me to see a team being built around Celesteela Milotic. That's going to be a pain already. So Celesteela Milotic, his first 2 draft picks. That's going to be bulky. It's going to be fun to deal with. So a little bit of an electric weakness, but I'm sure he can mitigate that with the next 9 picks that he has. So next up is David. David 1993 in the British Brooksish. He got Galvantula. And he's now looking at...
With Milotic's ability, Suicune is not nearly as good.
Suicune is not nearly as diverse as Milotic. Now, the next pick, Joe, has been brought out, and we are looking at a Kartana pick.
Ooh, I think that's my favorite Ultra Beast.
Favorite Ultra Beast? I mean, look at that attack stat, Joe.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. You know, you set up with one sword stance. If somebody can't touch it with that defense, you know, you're doing okay. Yeah,
you're doing all right. So people are talking about Subcom Mind and Pressure for PP stalling for Suicune as a bulky water, but it's really about the way you want to play your team, and Milotic can do some fun things against Sticky Webs and stuff with competitive, so that's a great Pokemon to have. Next up, we have the Philadelphia Pheons and CJ Beasley. I mean, Milotic can also sit there and sub-Scald and get, you know...
Who picked Kartana?
David. And the British Brooksish. Alright, Joe, another one of my team from the original TBL season is going here early. People are realizing that was a lot for me to draft out of that. And we got Cresselia. I believe Cresselia is Tier 2. Let me double check. It is. So Cresselia, a Tier 2 pick. We got some bulk going out here in round 2 right here. We got Mega Venusaur, Donphan, Milotic, Kartana, and Cresselia, and Scizor, which are all Pokemon that can be run very bulky. So round 2 is clearly the round where you get your Wall, and Kartana.
And Kartana.
Wall and Kartana.
I mean, that defense was okay.
Yeah. So Ollie and the Ipswich Infernapes. You're up next. Yeah, Joe, sorry. Cut you off.
Oh, it's all good.
I agree. I mean, the defense is really, really high on Kartana. Ollie Boy is doing the obvious thing. I can't believe it made it this far. Here comes Tapu Lele. I mean, it's...
Big Tapu Lele.
I can't fault him for that. That's just an easy... It's the, what, 20th pick or something right here almost, and it's still in. Like, there's... That's ridiculous. So, he is now done with his Tier 1 picks, but, you know, if I had to sit down and say, if I wanted two things out of Tier 1, it would probably be Greninja Protean and Tapu Lele. So, that's a great pickup for him.
Picks by any means.
No, you can work with that. So, next up, we have the South County Scolipede and Coach Sol Iterzio. And, yeah, Tapu Lele, man, it's a threat. I think the one benefit I have right now is that Ollie is in the other division, so I don't have to face him until the finals, if at all. But Sol is saying, hey man, I saw your Tapu Lele, I saw Tapu Koko go in the first round. Let me grab the bulky Tapu, because we're in the bulky round. Tapu Fini. So Tapu Fini's gone, so we're looking at just Bulu as the last Tapu. Obviously, in my opinion, the worst Tapu of them all. Togedemaru, obviously the best Tapu of them all. No one has drafted Togedemaru yet. Tapu Demaru is still sitting on the table, guys. We've had a Tier 5 draft pick. That's a value pick out of Tier 5 there, right down there.
It is probably one of the better picks of Tier 5, I will say.
So next up we have the oh my gosh, that's a hard one for me. Arubian Cubones and T-Shen. If anyone wants to get T-Shen on the line and get him picking his Pokemon. He got Landorus T last time, so you can go literally anywhere after that and be okay.
Will he draft another one of the Sky Beasts?
You mean Thundurus? Or Tornadus?
Or Tornadus?
It'd be interesting. I mean, Thundurus is a great Pokemon.
Volt Absorb is pretty solid.
Cryo just said he's dropping from the league? Oh, that's unfortunate. Well, I will figure out what to do about Cryo's team if he's dropping from the league. But we're still going to have the draft the same way we were going to have before. I need the pick from T-Shen, which I did not get. So we're going to have to auto-draft for T-Shen. He was here for the first pick. Oh, wait, no. No, T-Shen said he had to leave. I actually do have his picks. This is my fault. I forgot. He told me. Give me a sec, guys. He did give me his picks. He said he wants Espeon. Okay. That was my fault. He did send these to me, and I forgot. He said he'll be back around 6:30, so he'll be here. But he gave me some picks. So Tier 3, Espeon. So now it's the MK Don fans' turn. And Noctali in the last pick of here in round 2. What just happened? That is not what I clicked on. Alright, Noctali sniping me once again. I wanted this so bad. But she's going to take Jolteon. So another Tier 3 Pokemon going here in round 2. And that's a really strong Pokemon. It hits like an absolute truck. What?
It's going to be the round of the Eevees. 7 straight Eevee evolutions. Just go.
I mean, we've got Espeon Jolteon, so that's a start. But Jolteon base 130 speed. That's gonna be a monster. But hold on. All right, so
that little dent in your team, you know, good speed, good special attack. Just don't let it get hit by an earthquake.
yeah, one of the best wall breakers in draft format. Alex, Alex says you accidentally put Joe in his thing instead of in Tolly's. But it's Tolly's next pick. So as we go around the horn here and get to the, or not around the horn, around the wheel, and get to the round 3 picks, we got some teams shaping up. And Tolly is going to pick Alakazam. I'm pretty sure she's not saying that she wants Mega. She would say Mega Alakazam. So she's just going to draft regular Alakazam. Regular Alakazam is a tier 2. So she's not locking down the second Pokemon from any of these tiers. She's got one from tiers 1, 2, and 3. And Alakazam, really, really strong special attacker. She's got Jolteon and Alakazam. So she is going speed, speed, speed. Lit Dawn, I believe you are correct, but I was referring to like electric type wall breakers, not just wall breakers in general. Jolteon does a really, really good job as an electric type wall breaker. The Arubian Cubone and T-Shen, you are up next. Soul, if you can find someone right now to draft, that'd be great. I'm otherwise probably just going to... Oh, wait. T-Shen sent me his thing, so he's not here right now. Duh. We've been over this. He wants his third pick to be from tier 4. He wants Sableye. Regular Sableye.
Just normal Sableye?
Just normal Sableye. How do you feel about that, Joe? Normal Sableye.
It's a good prankster Pokemon. You don't need speed if you can be a trickster, you know?
That's true. Get that prankster. Will-O-Wisp, Toxic.
Yep.
You've got Calm Mind, if you really want to.
Not bad at all.
Dude, Z double kick for Chansey from a Jolteon. Alright, so we are going to move on to our next pick. And this is going to the South County Scolopedes and Soul. And hopefully T-Shen comes back, but he sent me a lot of picks, so we're good on him for a little while. Now, I don't know why Cryo said he was dropping out of the league. He did not inform me of this, and that's really unfortunate. I don't know what to do about his picks. I don't want someone to just get thrown into an auto-drafted team. That would suck.
I mean, theoretically, I couldn't pick his team and just not play.
I think that's probably our best bet for now. I know it's not ideal, but you aren't in the league, so I think that's our best bet for now. So our next pick is a tier 2 Pokemon, and it is Goodra. So we're seeing this Steel Dragon Fairy Core start to take shape on the South County Scolopedes. With Finny and Goodra, that's going to be a heck of a time breaking through that. But
Goodra is a
tier 2. Goodra is tier 2. You got a guy, Soul? Alright, well, we'll get to his pick, but thank you. I do appreciate that. He's going to have to be stuck with the Beware Dawn fan. There's nothing I can do about that. We'll talk about what he's going to do later. I don't think those are bad Pokemon, though, so we'll see how he deals with that. Ipswich and Fernapes, and Ollie Boy, you're up next.
Hey, there's still a lot of good picks, though.
There are
Not be concerned.
There are a ton of picks left, so yeah, he's got plenty of time to fix those Pokemon. And I don't think, like, if you're looking at Don Fan, you're saying, like, that's not a bad Pokemon to have.
Yeah. It's got Priority, it's got Spin, it's got Stealth Rocks.
Got Knockoff, Sturdy, Stab, Earthquake.
We got your next pick in, Robert.
Oh, I did not see Ollie's pick. My apologies. Thank you, Joe, for queuing me in on that. Because we do have the next pick, and it is the second Mega, and it's Mega Lopunny, and Ollie's team looks horrifying. I mean, Ollie was the one who 6-0'd me in the last league, so I know he knows how to draft. And he's showing it right here. Base 135 speed, base 136 attack, Mega Lopunny. Scrappy, so it hits anything. You can give it high jump kick, you can give it the elemental punches, it gets fake out, it gets quick attack if you want to run some sort of priority on there. You can run return, you can run all sorts of fun things on this. And it's going to hit. It's going to hit hard.
You are not wrong.
All right, so the Philadelphia Phiones and CJ Beasley, undefeated in the old league with 2 6-0s. Well, good luck this time, Ollie. We're not in the same division, so I don't have to worry about you.
Shit's going down.
What?
How much of that was audible?
This is very little. I have no idea.
I'll just let it pass. It was alright.
No idea what just happened.
Most of it was just
So CJ Beasley, I believe this is a tier 1 pick, but let me just double check. It absolutely is. There's no reason for it to be anything else. CJ Beasley is going to draft Kyurem Black.
Ooh, that one's a good one.
And that is a strong Pokemon to have in a draft like this. Hits like a monster, but still decent defenses, base 95 speed. I mean, this thing can put in the work. Bolt Strike, Outrage. You can run all sorts of fun things on this. And even base 120 special attack is, what is it, Joe?
It's, excuse it.
All right, so we have next up the British Brooksish and Coach David. And so we're looking at the team starting to take a little bit of shape, Joe, as most of the teams have drafted at least one tier 1 Pokemon so far. What do you think is missing from the pick so far, Joe?
You know, there's so many choices that are open, man. Excadrill, Garchomp's always a good choice. You gotta wonder if you're gonna see a Thunderwave Jirachi come out of here. Tapu Bulu's still on the board. Now, I know you don't like Bulu, but it hits like a freaking wood hammer, man. Like it's a hard hitter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Assault Vest Tyranitar is always a good storm one to have. So, I mean, those are all. That's just my tier 1 comments.
Yeah, I mean that's all we got time for right now because we do have the next pick sitting on the screen right now. It's tier 3. It's Chandelure. That gets him his Ghost type, his Spin Blocker, base 145 special attack. It gets Infiltrator, so no subbing on this thing. It also gets Flash Fire if you wanted to, counter some person who has a strong Fire type attack. This thing is scary. It's a scary, scary mon. Now, he was the British Brooksish.
Thank you.
He was starting to show Galvantula Kartana. I was like, okay, a little bit of fire weakness, get ready for that. And then, bam, Chandelure. So,
but the real question is, does he want to swing from the Chandelure?
David, this is an important question. You must answer it. Next up, we have the Wisconsin Whimsicots and Alex Cool Rocket. Oblivivilon, are you the new guy? Welcome to the stream if you are not the new guy. If you are the new guy, then your pick's coming up real soon.
Hey, top of the morning to you, my friend. How you doing?
I'm not going to change the layout, but you are going to be Cryo Predator for the rest of this draft, and then we'll go from there. So
Correct.
You're going to have the 8th overall pick. Just if you do exclamation point draft, you can see the Pokemon that have been auto-drafted for you, which are Beware and Donphan. We will discuss later if we're going to give you another pick at the end to switch one of those out if you want to, but just a heads up on that. So Oblivivilon. That's really hard to say. So, Joe, your pick mentioning ability is uncanny. Because as soon as you say it, there it goes. Garchomp is being taken here. And look at this team starting to take shape. Celesteela, Milotic, Garchomp. Hoo-wee. That's horrifying.
There you gotta wonder how he's gonna use that Garchomp to his advantage with Celesteela sitting on the bench.
Well, I'm sure that he'll figure out a way to do so.
You know, just looking at his team, I think he might be able to benefit from the Sandstream Tyranitar. But he can't pick Sandstream Tyranitar.
He's out of Tier 1 picks, which means he also can't take Hippowdon.
However, what he could do if he felt like it was pick Mega Tyranitar.
Absolutely.
And, if you were to switch in, then that would be an absolutely okay to use that.
Yes, Mega Tyranitar. He could also draft Gigalith, I believe.
Yep.
So, some options there for some sand teams. So, Oblivivillon's pick, and he picks Battle Bond Greninja.
Dun dun dun.
So, he's looking at Ash Greninja. Joe, how do you feel about this being... I mean, his team is getting auto-drafted a little bit, so how do you feel about this being his first real pick?
It's not a bad pick. You know, if you get that, you know, one kill off with Greninja, and you're setting up with Battle Bond Greninja, you're sitting pretty like that, that's a good way to be. That's an extra Mega. That's the way I see it. That's an extra Mega.
Extra Mega, ooh. Joe getting ambitious with that one. So, it's my pick, and... once again, I'm going to take a little bit of my time. I don't think I'm going to take the full minute and 30 seconds and kind of think about how I want to play this, what I want to pick here. Now, a lot of the Pokemon that I wanted have just vanished. It's not ideal for me, obviously, sitting here thinking about it. But I'm looking at the board and I'm saying most people have already picked their Tier 1 Pokemon. There's a bunch that I'm still okay getting, and there's a bunch that are still on the table. So I don't feel like I need to grab one this minute. And I'm sick of getting sniped out of my other picks. So I'm going to take another Pokemon that I really wanted. I think it's a little early to take it, but as people are starting to dip down into these tiers, I think it's about time. The reason I was not so dead set on taking Tapu Lele is because the Pokemon that I really want to use this year is Gardevoir. Just regular old Gardevoir. None of the Mega... No Hyper Voices for me. Although I could Hyper Voice if I'm expecting a substitute.
You could.
But base 125 special attack, base 115 special defense. Trace is a really cool ability because it allows you to know some information about your opponent's set, potentially, if it's ambiguous, which ability they'll be using. Synchronize can prevent status, status spamming. Gardevoir works really well as a sweeper. It works decently well as a cleric. So, there you go, Joe. You did it. So I think that's going to be my round 3 pick, and I don't know how I feel about my draft so far, but so far, I think this is shaping up to be a really terrifying draft overall, as the Missouri Magnazones and Nick will get their final pick in round 3 to round us off here. And we've had some really interesting picks this round, Joe. We are starting to get towards the middle part of this draft, and the tier 1s that people got really, really happy about are starting to disappear.
Yep, a lot of good tier 1 picks off the board. Kieran Black was a surprise. I totally forgot about it coming into this. And I had access to the draft stuff too, and I was looking at what was in what tiers, and I totally skimmed over Kieran Black. That's a power play right there.
It's a great Pokemon. So, the Missouri Magnazones and Coach Nick are going to draft a Tier 2 pick in Toxapex as his final pick in round 3, or the final pick in round 3, excuse me. It's his only pick in round 3. So, bulk on this one. His team is shaping up to be really interesting. Curious to see what he's going to do with it. And he did draft both Pokemon at the same time. Not a huge deal, since he does get the next pick technically anyway. But the next pick he's going to go with is a Tier 1 pick. Saves us a little bit of time on this wheel, but he's going to get Chansey. So he grabs Toxapex Chansey as his 2 picks around the wheel. And that's some bulk.
I would not want to go up against that team every week. That's taking the but
That's some real bulk right there. And so I think it's about time for me to draft some sort of wall breaker. Because I'm sitting here with, like, I don't know, not a ton of firepower sitting behind me. But at the same time, I'm looking at what Pokemon I want to grab, and all the ones I wanted to grab are gone. And I think, on the same logic as before, where I don't necessarily need to grab a Tier 1 Pokemon right now because they're mostly taken. I can grab those later when people have already spent their Tier 1 picks. I think a great Pokemon for me to pick up right now is going to be my final Tier 2 pick. It's not the best pick in the world for me to take out of Tier 2, but we discussed it, Joe. You know what it is. It is Lucario out of Tier 2. This Pokemon, like Infernape, does a very similar job to Infernape, but it arguably does it better. It's got setup on both sides of physical and special. It's got priority on both sides of physical and special. It's got justified so that they can't just spam knockoff on me. It's a really scary Tier 2 pick. So
I agree.
I wanted my Lodic out of Tier 2. I would have loved to grab that. Didn't get a chance, so I think my Tier 2 picks being Infernape and Lucario are going to be the way I'm going to go with this. And we are going to get the next pick started with Oblivivolon. Vivian. Oblivion. I tried, man.
Hey, that's what's important. A for effort.
It was more like a B- for effort, but I'll take it. I'll take anything I can get. A for effort. I'm in. It's the first A I've ever gotten in my life.
Remember, I'm in college. Effort doesn't count for anything.
I'm out of college. Good old college try is everything. So, as the only player left that has not drafted a single Tier 1 Pokemon, I think it's going to be really interesting as we get to the later picks. Because it'll allow me to kind of gauge which Tier 1 Pokemon I need in order to round out my team.
I definitely agree with that.
And since I've got a list of about 10 Tier 1 Pokemon, and of those, 3 of them have been taken so far, I'm totally okay waiting on those, because I've got plenty of Pokemon in there that I'm okay drafting. So, Oblivion's going into Tier 1. He's grabbing his second and final Pokemon out of that tier, and he's going to grab Heatran, another Steel type. Very, very powerful Steel type. Another Stealth Rocker. I say another as if Lucario was a Stealth Rocker, but it wasn't. But he's got a Stealth Rocker in that. Another as in he also has Donphan. This is a nice fire Pokemon with Greninja to make that Fire Water Grass Core. And he's got Air Balloon Thoughts. He's got, you could run this thing a V to take a Scald. You could give it a berry, Shuka Berry or something to take that ground type hit if it has to sneak up on someone. So they're like, oh, it doesn't have an air balloon, let me just hit it with an earthquake. And then it survives. Gets off a huge lava plume. You could run Scarf Eruption. Heatran is terrifying. So that's a big one. And
I tried to think of a Heatran pun, and I just can't. You know, the best I could think of was like, is your Heatran running? You better.
That pun just ran away from you, Joe.
It did.
So Alex, Cool Rocket, and I didn't really talk about the fact that it's his pick, but it's his pick, and he knows it, and he's using it to the fullest. He's grabbing his Mega for this season. Mega Heracross, Joe.
You know me, I love the Skill Link users.
Joe is a big fan of Skill Link, so he's definitely in with you on that pick. That's something Joe is more than willing to say you got a steal on that.
Absolutely.
So the British Brooksish, David, 1993.
As long as you're enjoying a nice cup of tea.
Pokebeta, welcome to the stream. Glad to have you with us this evening. And David is going to go with his Tier 2 pick here, and he's going to grab Mimikyu.
I was talking about this with you. I think Mimikyu is a great addition to any team here. Its typing is pretty solid. Ghost Fairy, it mitigates one of those weaknesses to dark types. Uh,
Yeah.
and as with its ability to disguise, a lot of people say it's a one-trick pony, but that one trick is pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's got a good trick. And it's got a couple of tricks, too. You could run a Wood Hammer. You can run Shadow Sneak. You can kind of, like, figure out how you want to run this thing. It's got a couple of coverage moves on there. Z Splash, if you really wanted to just, like, hit something hard. You can run Sub, so you can get that disguise and then get a Sub. So, like, you got plenty of opportunities. So it's got some...
You're going to have to educate me for a sec. What does Z Splash do?
Joe, Z Splash boosts your attack by 3 stages.
Z Splash Magikarp.
It's
better. Z Splash Hoppip.
Dude, Z Splash Milotic. Think about it. Think about it.
Z Splash Milotic and just Dragon Tail for days.
Noctali, all stat boosting Z moves. So Z moves that boost every single stat, like Evenium Z or Munium Z or Porygon's Conversion Z, those that boost every single, or Celebrate Z, those are all banned. But single stat boosting Z moves like Z Sunny Day or Z Splash, those are fine. Omni boosting moves. Wow, that's a way better way of phrasing it. The Philadelphia Fions is the next pick, so TJ is typing in the Discord right now, so hopefully he gets that in. He'll definitely get it in time. But, yeah, so here we are, midpoint of round 4, Joe. What is your favorite pick of the draft so far?
That's a tough choice. I'm gonna have to go with. Lando T. I really like Lando T. I use a defensive Lando T most of the time. Good stealth rocker. You just take hit after hit, so long as there's no ice beam around.
Yeah.
It's a solid pick. Swap in and intimidate. Get rid of someone's white herb if you're using shell smash. You're talking about Barbacle, however you feel like pronouncing it. Common shell smasher.
Yeah.
If somebody else is getting down to tier 5, I don't know where Torkoal sits, but Torkoal's a shell smasher.
Yep. I think Torkoal's above tier 5 because of its access to Drought now. So we didn't really talk about this as the next pick is getting underway, an Ollie Boys pick. But Arcanine, another one of the original New York Empoleon getting drafted here. Another Pokemon that gets access to Justified if you want to block something that's just going to spam knockoff. It's got Intimidate. I ran Flash Fire Arcanine one week. It didn't have a Fire type move. I think that was the best part. Arcanine is kind of a jack of all trades, and he does a really, really good job because he can be bulky and intimidate. He can be offensive with Justified. He can be special or physical. He can have priority and extreme speed. He gets ridiculous coverage moves in close combat and Iron Head and Bulldoze and just some weird coverage moves that you can just tech on there. It can be special. You can run Morning Sun, so for recovery. This thing does it all. It does it well. Ollie Boy is going to draft Shaman. So Shaman, I believe, is tier 2. Let me double check that. Shaman is tier 3.
Ooh.
Some value in that. One of those value picks you get out of tier 3 here.
Did someone pick Arcanine, or were you just talking about it?
No, the Philadelphia Fions picked Arcanine. And then the Ipswich Infernape picked Shaman. So, Shaman, the first of the base 100s across the board to get drafted here. I'm surprised it's the first. I mean, Jirachi and Mew and Victini. A lot of just like base 100s across the board, and Shaman is the first to go. Obviously, Shaman, a base 100 that's sitting in tier 3 as opposed to the other 3 I just named, which are all in tier 1. So sometimes hard to pick those. But we've got the next pick coming up in the South County Scolopedes and Coach Soli DeZio. And it is gonna be... Gonna get him on with a move that I didn't know it got. What's it gonna be? I've always loved this mon, but I never get to use it. Dude, he's building up the hype right now. Ooh! Ooh, another one of the original team. Going real fast. My team is getting drafted out of left and right. Mandibuzz. A really solid defogger. Bulky, good recovery, toxic, knockoff, foul play, brave bird. You can run this thing, you know, with no attack investment and bold nature if you really want to, and then give it foul play, and it'll still hit pretty hard against any physical attacker. It can be run physically defensively or especially defensively. Really, really solid Pokemon all around. So, I love Mandibuzz. It was another Pokemon in Tier 2 I was looking at, but obviously I'm done with Tier 2 now, so you can't snipe me out of that tier at all. You already did, so. Arubian Cubones! Coach T. Shen, still not back yet, so I still got a draft for him. I keep not remembering that I'm doing that. So, he's looking at his fourth pick being another Tier 3 Pokemon in Alolan Ninetales. Now, Alolan Ninetales is really interesting to me. Obviously, it gets Aurora Veil, which, that's great. Nobody ever says anything bad about that, but it does have to set up the Hail, and the Hail hurts everything. So that's something really interesting. Base 109 speed, though, access to Moonblast, access to Blizzard in the Hail. You know, this thing, obviously, don't get hit by a Steel-type move, but anything else, gonna look okay. Gonna look okay.
I honestly don't know which Ninetales I like better.
I mean, I have to say I like the original Ninetales better, but competitively, obviously, it's a little bit different.
Everyone knows your affinity for Ninetales, like my affinity for Skill Link.
I mean, I've used regular Ninetales to great success in the past. So Noctali and the MK Dawn fans are going to be drafting here in the last pick of round 4. Almost picked it, but you needed more firepower. CJ Beasley with the Arcanine puns. I'm excited about it. Oh, Noctali. Interesting, Joe. How do you feel about a Mega Glalie pick here in round 4?
No. Say it again.
How do you feel about a Mega effing Glalie pick here in round 4?
I think that's quite the fascinating pick, if you ask me.
I mean, base 120, a physical attack and special attack, and refrigerate. It learns Explosion, which means you can get Stab, Ice-type Explosion on this thing. You can get Stab, Ice-type Return with that refrigerate boost times 1.3, I believe. It gets Ice Shard, so it gets that priority. This thing could be fun. I think this thing has some real potential to get in there and the right situations and put in a lot of work.
Absolutely.
So here is the beginning of round 5. This draft is going so much faster than the last one did. Nope, that's wrong. I didn't mean to do that. So Tali, if you would like to tell us your next pick at the beginning of round 5. Now, we've had a few Megas go. Obviously, I drafted Mega Venusaur pretty early, and then we had Mega Lopunny, Mega Glalie, and Mega Heracross, Joe. What's the best Mega still sitting on the table?
Ooh. Let's see.
And while you think about that, we have a real dip into, I don't even know what tier this thing's in. Tier 4. Real dip down to Tier 4. So we go Mega to Tier 4 for Tali, and we are getting Ludicolo. Now, Ludicolo is often run on a rain team with Swift Swim. And that's usually how you see it run. It's got Scald, Hydro Pump, it's got access to Giga Drain. So, you know, you could give it Rain Dance, give it a Damp Rock, and have it run its own Swift Swim. It's an interesting pick, though. So she's got that. She's
running it with Jolteon if you want to run Thunder on a Jolteon.
That's true. She's starting to make that rain team look real scary. And so just reminder to myself that I am drafting for T Shen right here. Now T Shen's next picks, he had another tier 3 pick that he wanted, but he can't have it because he's already got 2. Alas, his pick was Politoed. But he will not have that. His next pick was supposed to be a tier 1 pick that is taken. So he can't have that either. So I'm going to look down and grab him the next pick that he has available on his list. And that is a tier 2 Pokemon. That is Suicune.
Oh, wait, I have a curious question. Why can't he have Politoed?
He's already got 2 tier 3s.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Suicune.
So for those who don't know, this draft, the way the league is formatted is that it's 2 Pokemon from each of the 5 tiers. We have tiers 1 through 5, and then 1 Mega. So you have 11 total Pokemon, but once you have 2 Pokemon from your tier, you can't draft another one from that tier. So he's already got 2 tier 3 Pokemon, and so he cannot have another tier 3 Pokemon. So next up is going to be the South County Scolipede. Yep.
I think my favorite Mega left on the board is Mega Aerodactyl, but I think there are some others that would be more beneficial on some specific teams in this scenario.
I would agree with you. If I had to pick a favorite Mega that has not yet been drafted, it would be Mega Beedrill.
That was another one of my choices.
I would have drafted Mega Beedrill on my own, except I know I need the bulk, especially now that I don't have access to my Lodic. I'm gonna have a very interesting team bulk-wise. It'll be interesting to see how I manage to pull this one together and get the bulk that I need.
It's gonna be something to see there.
So Soul Zeo is gonna say, "Hey Noctali, I see what you're doing, and I don't want you to do it." So he's gonna draft Pelipper. Excuse me.
Let's try.
Pelipper. I tried. I'm still in that Politoed mindset. So Pelipper, both of those Pokemon are tier 3, so Pelipper, tier 3 pick for Soul Eater Zeo. It's a solid pick. I've seen it work so well in other formats, in other leagues. Can't really go wrong with something that has access to Rain, Drizzle, and U-Turn, and Roost. It can make its own Hurricanes 100% accurate. It can roost off damage. So, really solid pick. Never a problem with that one. So, Ollie and the Ipswich Infernape, you're up next. Boom! Goes the dynamite. Ollie and the Ipswich Infernapes are going to draft one of my favorite Pokemon out of Gen 5. And a really solid tier 3 pick, Darmanitan. Darmanitan's huge base attack stat. Could go Zen mode one week if you really wanted to. But sheer force, that base 140 attack, you got access to Flare Blitz, you got access to Rock Slide, you got access to Earthquake, U-Turn, Zen Headbutt. It's a really good Pokemon. It can run as Scarfed. Base 95 speed is really solid. It can be run Banded because base 95 speed is really solid. It's a great Pokemon. T-Shen, if you want to see the Pokemon that I drafted for you, it's in the Google Doc ! Draft, and you can go see that doc. I've drafted straight down your list, just like what you had that was available. You had asked for 3 tier 3 Pokemon, so I only drafted 2 of them. So just a heads up. CJ Beasley, he's just jumping in there. I didn't even set up his timer, so that's fine. Works for me. He's going to draft Miss Magius. Now, what tier is Miss Magius? Is it 4? I think it's 4. It is tier 4. So, we are really getting into some lower tier picks here. And I'm excited to see that. Miss Magius, I think Miss Magius is always underranked in everything. It's such a good Pokemon. Base 105, special attack, special defense, and speed. Levitate, ghost type to spin block. Ridiculous move coverages. You can run it Nasty Plot. You can run it Substitute, like Sub Nasty Plot set. You could run Scarf. You can run Specs. You could. I mean, this thing. It's scary.
Who drafted Miss Mages?
This was the Philadelphia Fiends and Coach C.J. Beasley.
The Philadelphia Fiends.
So the British Brooksish are going to be the next pick in our draft. And I'm kind of psyched because I actually get to draft some of the stuff that I wanted to draft later, or earlier, a little bit later. So he's going to grab Excadrill with his final Tier 1 pick, which is arguably the best Rapid Spinner in the game. Additionally, it can be run Sand Rush. It can be run, obviously, with Mold Breaker. Joe, how do you feel about Excadrill going in round 5?
It made it a little further than I thought it would.
That's for sure. I was absolutely thinking this thing would get drafted much, much earlier than this. This was British Brooksish.
Excadrill.
So next up is the Wisconsin Whimsicots. So what's up, Joe?
You know something. You set this draft up, but I don't know why some of the fonts are turning red.
What?
I'm not doing that on purpose. Some of the boxes they just want to be red.
Just
It's not an issue. I'm just pointing it out. It's fun. I think it's great.
whatever.
Surprise for the red ones.
You never know. You never know what's gonna be. So it is Alex Cool Rocket's pick right now.
Hey, Alex, that's a cool rocket you got.
And he's going to go into Tier 3. And he's going to draft Metagross.
Dude, the new meta is gross.
I liked the Gen 6 meta better. I was so much better at it. But Metagross, Tier 3 Pokemon, and you get 135 attack. How do you feel about that, Joe?
Yeah, I feel pretty meteor mashed by that.
Oh, ho, ho, ho! That attack raise. All right.
That's scary when you get hit by a meteor mash and then that attack boost gets going there.
Yeah, and you know it's clear body and it can't be brought back down with Intimidate.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
That's the worst feeling in the world. So we've got the next pick already coming in. It's Gengar. Everybody loves Gengar. Now, obviously, Gengar drafting to Tier 2 with the Cursed Body ability instead of the old Levitate ability, but still a really solid Pokemon. Fun fact about Gengar, because you can't make it through a stream with me without going into a fun fact, it has been OU in every single generation of Pokemon.
That's fun.
It has been a good Pokemon since Gen 1, and it continues to be a good Pokemon all the way through. So, it's my turn to draft. And, once again, I could go with my Tier 1 pick, but I don't even know who has Tier 1 picks left. Does anybody have a Tier 1 pick left?
Yeah,
there are two more Tier 1 picks aside from mine left on the entire draft. So, and I've got 4 or 5 Pokemon that I'm okay with, which means I'm perfectly fine taking those 2 Pokemon as my last 2 overall picks. Doesn't give a lot away about my strategy, and I get a chance to work with some interesting Pokemon down below, which means I get to draft things that I want. And again, bulk is becoming more and more crucial for me because I'm not getting it. I'm just not getting it. And
just don't get it.
So we're going to drop to Tier 4 here, and I'm going to draft Jellicent. I don't have a Water type yet. I don't have a Ghost type yet. I don't have the bulk yet, so I think this suits...
You're not going to draft Empoleon. I mean, I guess I don't know that yet.
My Tier 3 picks are still well on the table, Joe.
That's true. One of your Tier 3.
Well, one of my Tier 3 picks is still on the table.
That's not a bad pick, though. Access to Water Absorb.
Yeah, it can block water, it can block spin. This thing is a bulky water type, is 105 special defense, gets reliable recovery, it gets toxic Will-O-Wisp, it gets some interesting moves like Energy Ball and Ice Beam, and you know, I have no problem saying that this thing is, I think I'm drafting it slightly early, but I'd rather get it than lose it, because I've already lost my Lodic, and I'm not happy about it. It's the poor man's Milotic, but you make do with what you got. So,
Well, if it's the poor woman's Milotic, it depends on which Jellicent you choose.
that's true. Also, this thing has a higher base HP stat, I believe, than Milotic, so definitely something to consider. It can be run super bulky. Take hits for days. So we've got the next person, and Nick's pick.
Knock Charlie, that was me.
Joe has been writing what you write. Although we will probably have to edit this later.
Aw,
I'm sorry, Joe.
that's the only one that's weird.
Well, you spelled Lopunny wrong. And I don't know what's happening with all of the like underlining things, so I'm gonna have to fix that later. But Nick.
I got you, Charlie.
Nick is gonna draft out of tier 2. I believe he still has tier 2 pick. He does. So he's gonna take Volcarona.
You know what they say? Crack open a Volcarona with the boys, and it's pretty nice.
Never crack open a Volcarona. That's animal abuse. So Volcarona, his final tier 2 pick. So he gets Toxapex Volcarona out of tier 2. And that's pretty scary. Currently, he's sitting there with I don't know if he has a rapid spinner of any kind yet. A Scizor gets defogged, so he's got Scizor. But something to watch out for in the later rounds.
Yeah, sure is.
So Nick, it's fine if you're doing both at once. Not a big deal. I'll just put in not your last pick, but your first pick of round 6, which is Mega Altaria, Joe.
Ooh.
And how do you feel about that little pick?
I think Mega Altaria is better than its flying counterpart. With access to Pixelate, it gives it a pretty cool move pool.
Yeah, absolutely. Hyper Voice. I mean, Pixelate Hyper Voice. We talked about it with Mega Gardevoir, and we'll talk about it again with Mega Altaria.
If you don't feel like running Hyper Voice, you can use Return, Earthquake, Dragon Dance.
Yeah, base 110 in both physical and special attack.
Yep.
Dragon Fairy makes it so that it's not quad weak to ice anymore. So, certainly an interesting pickup.
And it's not. It just eliminates the weakness to Dragon types. So.
Absolutely. So I'm once again in a weird situation where like I want to draft a Pokemon from tier 1, but no one's gonna snipe it out of me, so I don't need to draft it. So I'll keep dipping down into the lower tiers until all the tier 1 picks are gone, and then I'll just know what I can get. And there's a couple of Pokemon that I'm looking at right now down in the tier 3-4 range. And I'm thinking that, now that you mentioned him, Polion looks real good. It does. Not going to lie. Could get my own mascot out of this.
Could.
But I don't think that's the Pokemon that I'm going to go with at this moment. I'll leave the option open. But last season I had a lot of success killing a Landorus Therian with a Pursuit from a Skuntank, and I want it again. So give me that tier 4 pick, give me that Skuntank, and let's see how this goes again this season, because that Pokemon gets Defog, Play Rough, Pursuit, Sucker Punch. It gets Aftermath, so it can deal damage. It's only weak to ground. It can be run, it's got a decent base physical attack and a weird speed tier, which is kind of fun. A lot of HP. So, I think it'll be a good Pokemon for me to have in some weeks. I don't know if it's something I'm going to use every week, but it's definitely something I can use during the course of the season.
Yep.
So, Colin, welcome. If you, just type !draft like Soul did, and you can just see all of the picks so far. Next up, we've got the Alaskan Bulls and Coach Oblivion. stop telling my competitors what I can do with it, they're gonna know. I talk about every person's pick, so.
Robert is one of your competitors.
Yes.
So if he knows this information, likely the other people you're going to be competing against know the same information.
So Oblivion is gonna pick out of tier 2. Making sure he has a tier 2 pick left, and it's going to be Sylveon.
Sylveon!
So his team is starting to shape up in a bulky way. Just a reminder that after round 6, we are going to take a short break so I can rest my throat, and we are going to come back after a few minutes, like a 5-minute break, nothing crazy, and then come back and do rounds 7 through 11. But before that, Alex,
your creativity is showing. Before that.
So Oblivion wants to change his team name, but I love the Alaskan Bull Wurmples. I'm sad. He's going to change it to C-137 Hoopas. I don't understand that name.
You don't have to understand it. It's not your team name, Robert.
Not my name. That's not my name. That's not my name.
That's not my name.
So Alex. Alex, is that Alolan or is that regular? I'm just have to default to regular if you didn't say Alolan, so I'll give you until the end of your time to verify.
Which Pokemon? And for who?
This is going to be for Alex, the Wisconsin Whimsicots. He wants, yeah, he does want Alolan. I figured he would over regular Marowak. But he just said Marowak, so I had to assume. But since he can have Alolan Marowak in Tier 3, I think he's going to do that instead. Yeah, he's clarified, so we're good. Alolan Marowak for Alex here in round 6. That's all good, man. No worries if you forgot. It's just that I wanted to make sure. I didn't want to, like, put you into a situation you didn't want to be in and draft you a Tier 5 Pokemon you didn't want, kind of thing. So, that's totally fine. No worries. The British Brooksish and David.
Robert, I think we don't get the name because it's a Rick and Morty reference.
It's a Rick and Morty reference. I don't understand. I don't watch television. I'm on the internet. So David is going to draft his Mega, and it's going to be Mega Blastoise. Now, I learned today that Mega Blastoise has a higher base stat total than Mega Venusaur. So definitely a solid Mega Pokemon to pick. Rapid Spin, Mega Launcher, gets Aqua Jet and Fake Out. If you really want to run like physical, but you got obviously the Aura Sphere, Dragon Pulse, and Water Pulse, and Dark Pulse shenanigans with Mega Launcher. So really, really solid pick here in Tier 6 to grab that Mega. So we've got our next pick, and CJ Beasley. It sounds like CJ Beasley literally wanted to grab Mega Blastoise with the next pick. So he's going to have to think. He's going to have to think for a minute. Did I not say round 6? What did I say? It's round 6. This is kind of impressive. I don't know if you guys can hear it. I said tier 6? I did not mean tier 6. Well, I guess Megas are sort of tier 6. Alright, Joe. So, in lieu of getting Mega Blastoise, we have the Philadelphia Phiones drafting Mega Scizor instead. So if you're looking at your Mega to be something that can get rid of hazards, look no further than Mega Scizor with Defog. But Swords Dance, it gets U-Turn, it gets Bug Bite. I mean, Technician, base 150 attack.
Bullet Punch, Technician Bullet Punch can be scary.
That can be scary. So that's a mon that you gotta prep for that. Got to expect him to bring that.
It's got a Swords Dance off.
Yeah, and it can threaten things out. I mean, it can come in and you force to switch out, and it just smacks you upside the face after Swords Dancing. So Ipswich Infernapes and Ollie. I don't know who is messaging me right now.
Ooh.
Interesting. So we've seen this Pokemon before. In literally everything, always. So Gliscor's really, really fun. Really interesting Pokemon in my opinion. Tier 2 here. It does get access to Defog, but if it has Defog, it can't have Poison Heal. So that's definitely something to consider, but most people won't run it with Defog. You run it as its Stolly shenanigans. And that's the way you run Gliscor. So that's a great Pokemon. Base 125 defense, it gets Knockoff, it gets Earthquake, it obviously gets Poison Heal. Run it with a Toxic Orb. It gets Taunt if you really wanted to run Taunt on this thing. So
Taunt is underrated on Gliscor. You know, hit it with a Taunt and then just Toxic Stall, Protect. You know, maybe an Earthquake, throw in an Earthquake. If you get it into the right Taunt, then you can really screw someone over with that.
I completely agree.
I mean, who said that?
Nah, I mean that's what you should do. Tell the people. It's all about knowledge. This stream is all about the learning.
Let me drop a little knowledge on y'all.
So he grabbed Pelipper last time, and we're all like, thank God Noctoly is not going to get a rain team. And then he goes and drafts Mega Swampert. So speaking of a rain team,
Make it rain.
we've got Soul starting to make his rain team show up. He's got Goodra, could have Hydration. He's got Zapdos, Finny.
Oh, why, yes, Noctoly. At a rate of $9.99 per hour, that's 99 cents, 0.9 cents. You know, I would love to offer my services to you. If you would just contact me at 111-111-1111, I'd be happy to assist you in your team building needs.
Deal. So we have the Arubian, Cubones, and T-Shen, who said he'd come back, so I'm going to let him pick his own Pokemon at this point. And a reminder, again, after Noctoly picks her first of her Pokemon, we are going to take a 5-minute break. I'll have a timer on, and then as soon as that 5-minute break ends, we will come back. So T-Shen is going to pick up one of those final two Tier 1 picks that were left on the table, and he's going to grab Victini, Joe.
Ooh, Victini.
So Victini's really, really fun. Another one of those base 100s that can be run a lot of different ways, but it gets such strong moves. And access to Victory Star to make them more accurate is just... What's up?
Itty bitty teeny Victini yellow polka dot bikini.
That was hard.
It was great.
Alex, yeah, that's fine if you need to go eat, and Soul is like getting your pick. The other thing you can do is message me personally on Discord, and I will grab it as well. Either way. So Tolly, finish us up. You have your 1 minute and 30 seconds, and then I'm going to turn off my microphone and take a minute off, 5 minutes off. But before we go, Joe, as this last pick is winding down, tell us your favorite pick from the first 6 rounds.
Oh man. You know.
And the final pick has come in, so if you want to include Charizard, in your calculations here. Charizard, a tier 5 pick.
That's not a bad tier 5 pick.
No, it's a really solid attacker. Base 109 special attack. It gets access to really fun physical moves as well. So you could run it physically.
Fun Dragon Dance non-mega.
Oh yeah. Solar Power is a really good ability too. So.
I think my favorite pick has to be Gliscor. I totally did not think about it when I was looking at the stuff before, and just went right over my head. I think it's a solid pick. I think he got it at a fantastic time. I think all he got was a great time in the draft, where people were already thinking about their lower tier stuff, and he just sniped it.
All right, so with that, guys, I'm going to set the timer for 5 minutes, and Joe and I are going to step away from the mic for a moment and let you guys get what you need to get done. So, see you guys in a few minutes. All right, so
Grab snacks.
we're back, guys. So I have to reset the timer and stuff to be 1:30 instead of 5 minutes. But we are back and getting ready with the 7th round of the draft. So currently drafting is the MK Don fans, and we've got 5 more picks left for people to grab. So we'll see. This is how people round out their teams. Noctali is going to grab out of tier 4. Joe, first pick of round 7, Ditto. Now I had Ditto last season and it was fun. You got really interesting information. You can see their move pool. Additionally, the way that I used it last time was I knew that the Pokemon couldn't KO itself. I believe it was a Delmise. It couldn't KO itself, so I knew if I switched Ditto in safely, then I could take one hit and outspeed it with a Scarf and get the KO first before they did. So Ditto has some interesting potential, for sure.
Ditto's tier 4?
Ditto is tier 4. So the Ruby and Cubones and T-Shen.
Nugget teriyaki dipping sauce.
What?
Where? Like apparently that's being released on October 7th. What is that for?
Oh, it's at McDonald's, isn't it?
That's why I don't know. I don't eat McDonald's. I don't eat fast food, period.
Dude, fast food's great. Just
I don't have time.
Did T-Shen leave?
No, he just picked a Alolan Sandslash.
Oh, you just picked Alolan Sandslash. Okay. Thanks, Joe. You're paying more attention than I am. So, Alolan Sandslash, Joe. How do you feel about this pick?
It's a cool pick. Definitely Slush Rush is something to be excited about. Love that new ability, that new addition to the Rush crew, TBL. It's pretty...
Yeah, tier 4 too, so a decent, low tier pick. Good stats. Obviously, it's got like low overall stats, but that's because it has base 25 special attack, so that doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
The relevant stats are really, really solid. So, great pick, I think. South County Scolipede, you're up next. And, Joe, I'm nervous.
You should be.
This is a scary draft.
I think everybody should be quaking in their boots.
About everybody else.
Yep.
Now, obviously, my team looks really, really weak right now. But also, I haven't drafted out of tier 1 at all. You'll find the fire pick to be shocking, I find. It's a fun mon to run and a mon that I love using, but in a different way. Dude, Sholiter Zeo, narrates for me. I don't have to think of anything to say. He just gives me content, and I just have to say it out loud. Oh, no. No! Don't do it right now.
Oh, no.
So he's going to take a tier 3 pick. A tier 3 pick that I really wanted. Rotom Heat. And that's a really, really good Pokemon.
Yeah, it is.
Oh man, I don't even know what to say. It's access to Volt Switch. It's got Levitate, so it's off the ground. It's got Overheat and Toxic and Will-O-Wisp. And I was going to talk about it myself, but boy, am I not happy that it actually got taken. So that's unfortunate. Well, back to the drawing board we go. That's all right. We've got some time to make this up. I can make this work. I think. My team is getting just demolished piece by piece.
Congratulations, Ollie boy. You just ranked up to #3 newbie level 2.
With that pick of Golbat. Good old Fat Bat. Getting picked. I think this has probably got to be tier 5. It might be tier 4, though. It is tier 4. So, Joe, how do you feel about the Golbat pick?
Honestly, what went through my head is not appropriate.
So this Pokemon is a great Eviolite user. Gets access to Defog, so it can get rid of rocks. Roost, so it can be a really solid Defog user. I've seen it run successfully, but not consistently. So if you use it right, it's great, and but you can use it wrong. So the Philadelphia Fions and CJ Beasley are going to be the next pick. And last time, for reminder, he picked Mega Scizor because he got sniped out of Mega Blastoise. Which honestly sounds like a very lateral, if not like upward move.
Ollie, I'm not going to lie, you got me stumped.
Oh, I'm sure Ollie knows how to use a Golbat. Ollie, however, is looking at, you know, he started off without it, but he's slowly building a little bit of an ice weakness. Get a nice little freeze dry on that team. Excuse me. Get a nice little freeze dry on that team, and gonna hit a lot of things really hard. I can't spell, I can't spell, I can't spell, but he got Porygon 2, so I don't have to use note letters because there are numbers in this. So Porygon 2, tier 2 Pokemon. Some real bulk here for Philadelphia Fions. Ollie Boy saying he had no great hazard control yet, so he needed that defogger. And he wanted some bulky defogger, which is totally reasonable. So, definitely an acceptable thing. So we now have the British Bruxish and their 7th pick. And he's got the rapid spinners for days on this team. I mean, he's got Excadrill, Blastoise. I think Kartana gets Defog.
Kartana?
I believe Kartana gets Defog. I was told that. I don't know if I believe it. So he's going to go into tier 2 as well. And he's going to grab... so we saw Rotom Heat go first as the first Rotom form, but the second one is going to be Rotom Wash.
Also a good choice.
Yeah, that's a very good Pokemon. Now, I'm not as upset about that one because it is tier 2, and I couldn't get it anyway. Now, why is this not loading? Yeah, it's Porygon 2. Come back. What are you doing? Well, things break on my screen every single time. Why wouldn't they? There we go. There's Rotom Wash. Just in time for me to go on to the next pick. So Alex Cool Rocket back just in time for his pick. Look at that timing. Isn't that remarkable?
Like a nice metronome.
Tick tock.
Tick tock on the clock. The party don't stop tonight. I'm fight till we see sunlight. Tick tock on the clock. The party don't stop.
No, oh. I got you, Joe. I'm getting there. I'm with it. So Alex, all right, we got some real stally teams taking shape, Joe. Don't know how I feel about it.
It's gonna take a toll on you. Don't get me wrong.
Alex is gonna draft Blissey here out of tier 2, and
Bulk.
yeah, we see Golbat, Porygon 2, and Blissey go in like 3 out of 4 picks there. So. That's... I don't know what there is to say about Blissey. It speaks for itself. I mean, look at that HP stat. Look at that special defense stat. Everyone knows what Blissey does. It does it super well. Obviously, Natural Care, super useful ability, because then you just switch it out and can't get toxic forever. So yeah, it's a Pokemon. Sure is.
Great skirt.
David,
I appreciate my singing too.
So, Oblivion. Tornadus I in tier 3.
Thank you for putting the tier.
I actually knew that was in tier 3 because it's another one I was looking at. Got sniped out of everything. But it's okay. That happens. I have a minute and a half to scrounge for a pick here, because everything I wanted is somebody else's now. So bulk. But also like something that can hit hard to be bulky. You know, not too much to ask for. What?
Avalug. Araquanid?
I'm out of tier 4 picks.
Oh,
Let's see. How much time do I have left? 40 seconds? I know I'm being really quiet, guys, but I'm literally staring at the draft thing. And if I don't find one on this pick, I'll just grab something else and go from there.
You could go for Snorlax. A little bit of bulk, some good move pool.
Could go for Snorlax. I'm looking.
He added 4 picks. 4 picks.
Yeah. Man, I really wanted Rotom Heat.
Picks?
All right.
No, there you are. You
So-
have a tier 3 pick. Never mind.
Yeah, I do have a tier 3 pick, but I couldn't think of anything for my tier 3 pick. So instead, I'm going to go with a tier 5 pick. And guys, it's time. I'm going to draft it because I ran out of time to pick a tier 3 pick. So I'm going to draft it. It's Togedemaru time. Ladies and gentlemen,
Top of the Mario.
Tapu Demaru is on my team. And I am going to be super excited to use this thing throughout the season. And you guys are going to see all sorts of fun ways that you can use a Togedemaru in a battle. So, I think it's a little early to draft this thing, but I also really wanted it. So, I know I said I want bulk and then drafted something with like very little bulk and a quad weakness. But it's got 3 really good abilities. It gets really interesting moves. And I'm excited. I want to see how this thing shapes up against, in a draft league format. And Nick, it's his pick, and he says he wants a Alolan Raichu. So,
What about that surfing action here?
yeah, good old Alolan Raichu. That's a tier 4 pick for him. At the end of round 7. And,
Oh, wrong song. Surfing USA.
hey, Ollie, I don't think you're giving enough credit to Togedemaru here. It'll come. It'll have its time to shine. All right, and so with his second pick in round 8, he's going to take Sawsbuck. Joe? Tier 5.
You know, I saw the buck and I saw it and I just took it.
All right, so tier 5, starting to become the tier people are looking at. That happened too quickly for me to pick a tier 3 Pokemon out, so I have another minute and a half, which is great, because I'm going to take all the time again. So I'll start my timer. That didn't work. Yeah, it did. Okay. Because I definitely need to take my tier 3 Pokemon right here, right now. And I want it to be bulky, but also be useful. And match the rest of my team as far as how I want it to play.
I suggested Snorlax before.
You did suggest Snorlax.
You could
I could go with a Alolan Muck, but I already have a Poison Dark type.
Umbreon.
I'm looking at Umbreon. I'm really looking at Umbreon. Wish. Baton Pass. You know what? My team needs some bulk on it somewhere. So we're going to grab Umbreon. Because if I don't take it now, someone else is going to. I've learned that the hard way this draft. So as my final tier 3 pick, we're going to take Umbreon. Oh yeah, screw me, guys. I'm the one who's stealing everyone else's picks. Obviously, Synchronize and Heal Bell. This thing is a really, really good cleric. This thing can be used. It's almost always bulky, but you can run Foul Play. You can run. You could run a couple different physical or offensive moves if you wanted to, but generally you're just going to run it defensively. Give it Toxic, give it Wish, Protect, potentially Baton Pass. In this league, Baton Passing everything but speed is totally legal. So I can't Baton Pass speed, but I could Baton Pass just with no stat boost at all, or a Wish into Baton Pass, something like that. So those are options.
Sorry, Stalpy.
Oblivion. I can't believe it made it this long. He's going to take Mega Latios as his Mega here in round 8. That's incredible.
The Ruby and Cubone are the only people who haven't, or the only team who haven't taken a Mega yet.
Well, there you go. Mega Latios here in round 8. That's an incredible pick. That thing hits like a truck. It's a great Pokemon. So, Wisconsin Whimsicots. Alex Cool Rocket, you're up next. And we've got just a few rounds left, Joe. And I still have 2 Tier 1 Pokemon to draft out of my last 3 picks.
I think people will be a little shocked.
I don't think they'll be shocked at all.
You don't have to tell them that.
I don't think they'll be shocked at all. I mean, Ollie Boy, Mega Latios is a really solidly strong special attacker. If you really just want to hit something hard, just drop a Draco with a Mega Latios. That's going to suck for the opponent. So Alex is going to pick up one of your favorite Pokemon, Joe.
Toucannon?
No.
Tail?
No. Electros.
Ooh, Electros.
That's, I believe, Tier 4. It is Tier 4.
That is a very fun option. It's a great move pool. I use it on my Gen 6 gym team, my electric gym team. So I know the versatility that it can handle. It can be bulky, it can be a little bulky, not too bulky, but it can hit offensively or special offensively. So it's a good one.
Yeah, solid pick. So next up is David.
Who picked the Lake Coast?
Alex Cool Rocket. Wisconsin Whimsicots. So David is going to go with a Magic Bouncer in Xatu. Xatu out of Tier 4 Magic Bounce. Dude, the word tier no longer looks or sounds like a word. Alright, guys, I think we are slowly going crazy throughout this stream, although we are blasting through these picks. I mean, this is on pace to be so much faster than last time. AV Coil? How do you use Coil if you're holding an Assault Vest? These are the real questions. Philadelphia Fions, it is your pick. So, CJ Beasley and the Philadelphia Fions are going to pick up Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen. That's a really, really good Tier 3 pick. All right. So next up, we've got the Ipswich Infernapes, and Ollie, who's sassing me right now. Joe, what do you like about Nidoqueen?
It's good bulk and good moveset. You know, you can use essentially the same Nidoking set and get some good attacks off while taking a bit more of a hit.
Yeah, bulky. Stealth Rock, that's an option. Can be run physically or specially.
That's true.
Still gets sheer force, just like Nidoking. So, it's a great value pick. No, it's a great pick. Wish I could have taken it if I had any of the Pokemon that I wanted. So, picking up one of every single type is Ollie's Silvally pick. Ollie's Silvally. And that is a tier 2 pick for Ollie. Joe, you like Silvally.
I do. It's a very interesting Pokemon. I love its versatility. Obviously, that's one of its coolest aspects. But you see a lot of people running it without any sort of type modifier on it, and I wonder how he's gonna use it depending on what team he drafts.
I would agree with that. That's definitely something you can consider. You don't have to put on a system or whatever they're called.
RKS something.
Well, that's the ability. I don't remember what the item is called.
Oh, sure. Memory disc?
Memory something. Yeah, the memories. Doesn't have to put on a memory. You can just use it as a, any attack,
I am
type.
all for the theory that Silvally is just a pseudo Arceus.
It's their attempt to clone Arceus.
Yeah. Similarly to the attempt to clone you.
Became Ditto. All right, so Joe, another one of your favorites is going here now.
Ooh, Weezing!
Yes, I know you love Weezing. It's tier 4.
A lot of fun.
It's a great Pokemon. Super defensive. Great typing. Get some fun moves like Will-O-Wisp and Flamethrower.
Don't forget Fire Blast.
Or you could run Fire Blast if you want power, if you want to miss every time. That's...
Hey.
I mean, okay, only if you're me, you'll miss every time.
I think every Pokemon battler says, "Oh, every time I miss every time." It's totally just.
Yeah, well, no, it's every Pokemon battler says that the other guy hits every time and they miss every time. Every time.
God, that critical hit that guy got, so unfair.
So the Arubian Cubones are going to draft their Mega here, Joe. And so we will be done with the Mega picks, and he's going to pick Mega Gyarados.
Ooh, cool.
So a reminder to everybody in this league that you must Mega Evolve the first turn you bring the Pokemon in. Cannot use it as a regular Pokemon. However, he can get the Intimidate off once, or even more than once if he switches it in and switches it immediately out and doesn't get a chance to attack, because then obviously you can't Mega Evolve. So you can take advantage of that even if you're not allowed to leave it in and Dragon Dance and not get the Dark Weakness, etc. You can't do that. But you can switch it in and out and get that Intimidate off, so, because there's nothing you can do about it. That's
An interesting play.
Yes, so something to think about as we move forward.
Mold Breaker is also one of those really cool abilities.
Yes, Mold Breaker is a great ability, and there's not a ton of Pokemon left that use it.
Nope. Or at least not a lot of Pokemon that people can draft.
Yeah.
That use it.
I believe Haxorus is still undrafted. It's a great Mold Breaker Pokemon.
What's the other one? Cranidos Evolution.
Rampardos. Some people with tier 5 picks left, Joe. So that's one that's definitely still on the table.
Oh, absolutely. That one hits hard.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Rampardos is a real strong pick.
Excadrill's already been taken, CJ.
Yeah, Excadrill was drafted, so... Excadrill was drafted by the British Brooksish in round 5. How many streams are you watching, Colin? All right, so we've got just a couple more rounds left. As soon as Noctali gets us her pick here. Waiting on Tali. I don't know if she knows it's her pick, but it's coming real fast. I didn't really make any fanfare about it. But, Tali, I need your pick, like, right now. Go. Like, right now. Go. Great. Kinkelder. Tier 1. Alright, Joe, how do you feel about the only person besides me who had not drafted a Tier 1 pick drafting Kinkelder right here?
I think it is a great compliment to a Ferrothorn.
Kinkelder Ferrothorn core. That's true. That's a toughie. That's a toughie. I have to deal with that someday. Week 3, I faced Tali, in fact. I do remember that. So, it is round 9 right now, and it is Noctali's pick once again. She is out of Tier 1. I don't know what else she's out of, but definitely out of Tier 1. Definitely out of Mega. She's got a Tier 2, a Tier 3, and a Tier 5 left. So there's no reason for me to pick any Tier 1 Pokemon right in this round, because I can just pick them in my last 2 rounds, and nobody can snipe me. Finally! Something nobody can snipe.
Did I accidentally add one to the wrong person?
So, Noctali is drafting out of Tier 5, Golurk, Joe.
Golurk.
Golurk.
Very interesting.
That is a very interesting Pokemon. It gets access to No Guard, which is always a fun ability. It can get No Guard Dynamic Punch, just like Machamp. But it also gets some really interesting moves, and obviously being a Ghost Ground type is such a fun and useful typing for a draft league. Hard to deny that it is a very solid Pokemon. I need to reset things, so let's go like that, let's go like that, and we have the Arubian Cubones. Their pick in round 9. As we round out this draft and people kind of finish up their teams and show what they're all about. Tishan is going to draft out of Tier 2. He's going to draft Magnezone. I can't spell. Magnezone, Joe. Thoughts?
I already had it down. Stealing another person's mascot seems to be the theme of this draft.
Yeah, my mascot's not going drafted, though.
But I think it's a very interesting choice. It's a great special attacker. Throw an air balloon on it, just kind of have it run for days.
Absolutely.
You can run analytic, which is really really cool if you don't mind attacking second.
Absolutely.
Sturdy's always a good ability. Magnet Pull can screw over some of your steel opponents.
That's true. You could have someone bring in a steel type and just, like, be able to absolutely destroy them.
Jinx. Oh, we said it at the same time. Yummy a soda.
So, Soul Eater Zeo is going to draft Jinx out of Tier 5. Ice Psychic type. Very interesting.
You know, if anybody wants to just draft Nicki Minaj in their team, I get it. It's fine. She has a nice butt. Whatever. But she just don't want none unless you got Jinx.
So Jinx is here, Joe, and how do you feel about Jinx competitively?
Alright, fine. Very cool Pokemon. Dry Skin is an interesting ability. A lot of people are drafting some pretty solid water types that can be easily messed up by a nice little Dry Skin. It's got a good special defense, but it won't take a physical attack for a beat.
That is certainly nothing to sneasel at.
Nothing to sneasel at.
You do not want to be sneaseled at. Ooh, Dusk Noir. I was thinking Dusk Noir, man. That's a great snag.
Yes, tier 4 if I'm not mistaken. Well, I will double check that. It is tier 4. So Dusk Noir. Look at those defenses, Joe. Just look at them.
Yep. That's something that will just take hits for days. If it had any better HP, it would be in much higher tiers.
Yes, absolutely. Now, the other thing about it is it has an ability called Frisk, which is really useful in League format because you can see the opponent's item. And knowing the opponent's item gives you a lot of information about their set. So the Philadelphia Fions are going to be drafting here in round 9. And they are going to draft out of tier 5. One of the fastest Pokemon you could find in... No, yeah, you can find in this tier. A physically offensive electric type, Zebstrika.
Ooh. That's a fun Pokemon. It gets access to Overheat and, good physical attacker as well. You can throw in a couple of special attack moves for fun. Volt Switch, Overheat. It's a good time.
Yes, absolutely. So the next up is the British Brooksish.
Where's my...
Where's what?
Where's my Eviolite Sneasel? You keep saying these aren't anything to sneasel at. Who's gonna pick Eviolite Sneasel?
Dude, Eviolite Sneasel. Why would you pick Eviolite? I mean, you wouldn't use Eviolite on it. It's a great Pokemon, though. It's actually tier 4. So we've got the next pick, Joe. I think this may be your favorite Pokemon. Got all of your Electric-type gym Pokemon coming out right here. Joe,
Oh, man.
it is time for Electivire to get its moment in the sun.
Electivire!
So, David.
Only because I always spell it wrong.
Joe. You're the worst. All right, the Wisconsin Whimsicots are up next. What? The British Brooksish.
British Brooksish.
Colin, thanks for hanging out tonight. Glad to have you with us, as always.
Just about everything from my gym was drafted.
So Alex Cool Rocket is going to draft out of tier 4. Joe Trevenant. Trevenant. How do you feel about this Ghost Grass type getting drafted here?
You know, it's a cool. When it was originally put out in the series, I thought the way it evolved was really cool, and it's just an interesting type. Grass Ghost. You see it now in what's the starter called?
Decidueye.
Decidueye, yeah.
You've got Gourgeist. You've got Delmise.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. You do a lot with Trevenant. You know, it's got access to Will-O-Wisp, and if you get that on it, it's going to take some pretty solid attacks for days.
All right, Joe. So the next pick has come in already. Not a lot of fanfare going into this, but all of a sudden, Tier 4 Virizion. Speaking of the grass types getting drafted out of here.
Nice.
That is a really solid mixed attacker. Obviously, don't let it get hit by a Brave Bird.
That's true.
But really solid mixed attacker. So it's my turn. Once again, I'm not ready. My plan went south so quickly. It's incredible. Now, obviously, I'm the only one left with Tier 1 picks. So there's no reason for me to draft out of Tier 1. And I have a plan. It's not a great plan, but it sure is a plan. And so using my final Tier 5 pick, Joe,
Hit me.
I am going to draft regular Marowak.
Regular.
Marowak.
Non-Alola Marowak.
Okay.
Now, Tier 5, obviously the Pokemon are a little bit weaker, but you give this thing a Thick Club, and it is a base 160 attack. Base 110 defense, it gets access to Stealth Rocks if I wanted to use it as a Stealth Rocker. Obviously, it's an electric immunity no matter what, but Rock Head is a great ability to use. It can get Double Edge with that Rock Head. It gets access to Knockoff, which my team was desperately lacking a Knockoff user. So I think this thing will have some benefit on my team. I don't expect to bring it every week, but it's definitely got a spot there. And I've got some plans for it. So we'll see how this goes.
It's certainly going to be interesting.
Obviously, I did have Togedemaru, which could be an electric immunity, but doesn't have to be. Marowak naturally has that built into it. And so I was definitely looking for that ground type. I was looking at Piloswine as a possibility, but I think Marowak does what I want it to do pretty well. So Nick is ready with his pick, and he's going with Hitmonlee, Joe. So Tier 4 Hitmonlee coming out as the final pick of Round 9. So Round 9 showing a lot of Tier 4 Pokemon. I guess that's what you'd expect, because Round 10 and 11 would be your Tier 5s if you're just going straight down the roster. So we've got Round 10, which of course the formatting screwed up, so I will fix that. And yeah, we've got Nick's pick again. And items like Choice Band and Thick Club don't double the base stat, it doubles your actual stat. Okay. I do know that those numbers are actually not as similar as you'd think. The actual stat includes the EVs and everything like that, so that's awesome if it doubles that number. Jumping all the way from Gen 1 to Gen 7, we've got Nick picking up Salazzle here in the 10th round. So Salazzle's a really, really cool Pokemon. It's Tier 3. So he's picking up his Tier 3. And obviously, guys, I have my Tier 1 Pokemon left. So it's about time that I get to drafting those. And like I said, I was looking for some bulk. I was looking for some help to deal with some of the weaknesses my team has developed. And I think that one Pokemon my team could really, really use is Latias. Regular old Latias. So it is time for my Tier 1 picks to finally come out. My team to start look threatening. Because it really wasn't. Now here we go with Latias. Base 110 speed, so I can finally get something in that upper speed tier again. Base 130 special defense. This thing gets Wish. This thing gets Draco Meteor. I mean, you could hit this thing... which is awesome. You can hit this thing or use this thing to hit really, really hard. So I'm excited to use Latias this season. I used Latios last season to great success. And
It definitely adds a good aspect of bulk to your team. You know, you got some good attackers and Infernape, Lucario, and Gardevoir. And, just below the Tier 1 picks. You've got some versatility with your lower picks, so I think adding Latias is a good choice.
yeah, it's two types that I was kind of lacking. I mean, obviously I did have Gardevoir as a Psychic type, but Latias offers a Dragon type that I did not have, which I needed. Allows me to finish out my Steel Dragon Fairy Core of Lucario, Togedemaru, and Latias, so that might need some help. But it's
Lucario's a Steel type too.
Lucario can do a whole bunch of things. So Oblivion is asking for Rotom Frost, which is a Tier 5 Pokemon with ridiculously good stats. Obviously, the typing is what keeps it down there. Weakness to Stealth Rocks. Doesn't help it, but great stats. Obviously, access to some fun stuff like blizzards and stuff like that. So you can run Trick, you can run some interesting things on Rotom Frost. Yeah, Highbind, I actually understand the difference between a stat value and the base stat. I should have remembered that that's what the items do.
I think you just misspoke.
Yeah, that is something that I actually have a video coming out on my YouTube channel at some point in the near future about how to calculate that. So that's something that I actually have been thinking about recently a lot. Wisconsin Whimsicots are up. It is their turn to pick. So
Everybody's tired, and we're all misspeaking. Give each other a cease.
I said Lucario Togedemaru. I have totally meant Gardevoir Togedemaru. Or Lucario, Gardevoir, and Latias. Steel Dragon Fairy.
My roommate made banana muffins.
Banana muffins.
She put chocolate chips in them. It was so good.
Banana chocolate. Dude, oh man. Now I want a banana chocolate chip muffin.
I'm sorry. It was so good.
Alright, Joe. We've got Articuno coming out here.
Articuno? Articuno? Arduino?
Arduino?
Arduino. I used one of those last week.
Did you really?
I did. I made a temperature sensor. Temperature and humidity sensor. Fun fact.
Fun fact. Joe can do things.
Joe's doing cool engineering things, guys. Who's drafting Articuno?
That was the Wisconsin Whimsicots and Alex Cool Rocket. So the British Brookshish, it is your second to last pick.
Fighting Psychic Electric is a card?
I've never heard of it. But it seems like a decent one.
Yeah.
X9 Gaming, welcome to the stream. So the British Brooksish, with their penultimate pick, are going to pick up a Alolan Raticate, Joe.
If I do say, that might be my fine pick.
Such an interesting pick, if you ask me. I'm very curious how he'll run that. Obviously, access to Thick Fat, but also Hustle. An interesting typing in Dark Normal makes it quad weak to fighting, but otherwise, it's a decent typing. So, very curious how he's going to use that Pokemon as the time goes along, but I'm sure he will show us Some of you do know that there are half of the league battlers in this. All of them are viewers of my stream, which is really exciting, but half of them are going to be uploading battles to YouTube. So there will be some ways to see some other people's ideas and sets, etc. So Joe, the other Mega Launcher Pokemon, Joe.
The other Mega Launcher Pokemon.
Yes, the other Mega Launcher Pokemon out of Tier 4, Claw-Itzer, will be the Philadelphia Phion's pick. I appreciate that joke a lot, Joe.
Welcome. That's a staple in my acapella group. Most notably, Tenor, I hardly know her.
Tenor? Liquor?
Whoa.
That's where the original joke comes from.
Oh, I got it from, like, Tissue, I hardly know you.
Interesting. No, the original joke comes from Liquor. I hardly know her.
That's funny. Let's learn something new every day.
Hey, fun facts with Goldo Dragon. That's what it's all about. All right, so Joe, how do you feel about the low tier rapid spinner here in super fast Cryogonal?
Yeah, Cryogonal is a very cool Pokemon. I've used it to a lot of success. Good freeze dry user, good special defense. You know, there's really a lot of good things you can do with this one.
All right. So we've got the South County Scolipeds. Thick with 2 C's and a Q. That's so much thick. It's so thick. All right, Joe. I feel like I can talk about it because nobody else can snipe me anymore. There are a lot of Pokemon left in Tier 1 that I'm looking at.
So many things that I would pick.
But I have to pick one.
You do.
And a lot of the ones that I'm comfortable using, Excadrill, Ferrothorn, those have been taken before. And I have 2 Psychic types, and I have 2 Steel types.
Yep.
I've already got a Water type.
You could round it off with another Dragon type.
I could round it off with another Dragon type. I actually have a pretty interesting pick in mind, Joe.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it'll come really late in the draft. Second to last pick. But before we get there, we've got Scrafty.
I know exactly what you're looking at.
So Scrafty, Joe. That's a great Pokemon.
Phenomenal Pokemon.
That is such a good Pokemon. Cannot deny how much that Pokemon makes me quake in my boots. So much swag. So much swag. So we've got the Arubian Cubones drafting their second to last pick. It's so interesting to watch the way the colors on this draft screen like slowly fade towards the greens and blues. It's like reds and oranges and yellows, and then they like soften out to the greens and blues at the end. Except for me, who just pops in the reds. All right, Joe, do you know what types I'm missing right now?
Let's see. You are missing. So you have Dragon, Psychic, Firefighting, Steel, Fairy, Dark, Water, Ghost, Poison, Electric, Ground, Grass. You are missing Flying. You are missing. You are missing.
All right, Joe. In the meantime, we've got a Tier 5 pick coming out, and it's a doozy.
Ooh, Ursaring is a fun one.
It's a doozy. Look at that attack stat with guts. That's pretty scary. That thing can hit like an absolute truck. Just give it stab facade with guts. You're hitting with a ridiculous amount of power.
Absolutely.
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 Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Oh dear. All right. So we've got Noctali with the final pick of round 10.
Ice, flying, and rock.
Ice, flying, and rock.
Maybe one more. Tali is picking Florges.
Out of tier... Where is that?
3, I believe.
No. Where is that? Tier 2.
Just a Florges pick.
Flawless, baby. Darling, that pick is flawless. Alright. That special defense stat is absurd. Now, Florges is an interesting Pokemon. It's a really good Wish Passer. But its abilities are kind of useless. It's one of those Pokemon that manages to be okay despite having useless abilities. Which is kind of interesting. It's not useless in doubles, but it's completely worthless in singles for the abilities. But it's still a good Pokemon because of its stat distribution. Just hard to find. Pokemon that can circumvent having a good ability to just be good.
So you're missing rock, flying, normal, ice, and
And Tali, with her final pick, is going to grab Tyrantrum, Joe.
not a bad choice.
No, as a last pick, you can do a whole lot worse. That's for darn sure. Tyrantrum is going to be coming out of tier 3 for Tali. So the Arubian Cubones are going to be next up with their final pick of the draft.
Bug.
Tishan is gonna draft Delibird. Joe, how do you feel about that one?
You know, Christmas is coming. Someone's got to leave a present under the tree.
That's true. Someone's got to be there.
You know, it's got access to Ice Shard. You know, throw Aerial Ace on there with a nice hustle. You get that nice stab and attack boost.
Yeah, it gets Rapid Spin and Defog. It is the only Pokemon that learns both of those that isn't through Transform or Smeargle, which is interesting. Also gets access to Spikes.
That's true.
So South County Scolipede in their final pick.
Ooh, someone's picking Vileplume.
Vileplume or Victory Bell.
Yeah, I'm still calling Vileplume. Oh,
There it is, Joe. You got it. Vileplume. Down to tier 5. Rounding out that team. Joe, how do you feel about a Vileplume pick?
I think it'll be quite vile.
Oh, Joe, you.
No, it's a solid pick. You know, sleep powder is always something that's gonna take apart a team. You know, get a sleep powder going and you know hit off a couple Giga Drains. All of a sudden, that Vileplume that wasn't doing much is back at full health, and you're kind of screwed.
Yeah, absolutely. This is getting to be a scary, scary draft. Ollie's ready. He's just going to straight up go with his Eviolite Electabuzz. No hesitation.
Wow. Is that something that occurs a lot?
Eviolite Electabuzz?
Yeah.
It is now.
Okay. Really would have rounded that off nicely if you chose Duskull instead of Duskmar. Dusclops, rather.
Dusclops. He's got so many Eviolite users. So the Philadelphia Phiones in their last pick is going to pop in there. Yeah, CJ Beasley still sitting with a tier 4 pick, it sure sounds like. No, he doesn't have a tier 4 pick. What is he going to draft? It's Machoke!
I'm going to choke you out, man.
I thought he was going to pick Sneasel. I was hoping. I hoped somebody would pick Sneasel, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So Machoke! Base 100 attack. Another Eviolite
What,
user.
You think I'm a joke or something?
I mean, you sure ain't a champ.
I gotta chop you out of here.
All right.
Too far?
I just didn't know where to go from there, so I left it. Ollie's been in over 70 leagues, he says. What do you do with your life?
Pokemon.
Clearly. I wish I could do that with my life. So, looks like regular Muck is about to get drafted here, Joe. Out of tier 5.
That's dang.
Regular old Muck. I mean, still a great Pokemon for a tier 5 pick. Why aren't we talking about Machoke? We talked about Machoke. Talked about it as much as we talked about anything else. Whoops, I didn't mean to click that button yet.
We made more jokes than anything else.
I was trying to click this button over her. Because I don't know what I'm doing with myself. Alright, so we are on to the Wisconsin Whimsicots. And their final pick of the draft. Joe, I am regretting telling you that I had my pick ready because I don't.
I know what you should pick, but it's not what you want to pick.
What should I pick, Joe?
I'm gonna let you. No. It's your last pick. I'm not saying. Darn thing.
The problem is I already have 2 dark types. I was thinking about Weavile, but I don't know if that's the right one. And I don't have a ton of an ice weakness right now. In fact, I don't have anything weak to ice except Latios. Oh, and Marowak.
I mean, theoretically, Mega Venusaur is weak to grass.
Weak to grass?
Or, not grass. Ice.
Alex is going to use his tier 5 pick, Joe, and pick up Slaking. Slacking? Slaking?
Slacking, dude. Not chopping off any heads today. Not pulling a Marie Antoinette and Louis the 14th or Louis the 8th or whatever Louis got his head cut off.
Now this thing hits super hard. Switch it in, Choice Scarf retaliates, switch it out. It's a scary Pokemon to say the least in certain matchups. Now,
Yep.
you know, it's just one of those things you got to be prepared for.
I agree. Someone's going to use it and someone's going to hit it hard.
Yeah, so now we are on to our third to last pick of the draft.
Oblivion.
Oblivion? Are you there? We've been waiting. Your pick time just ran out, so if you don't draft in like the next few seconds, I'm going to have to auto draft you. I don't know what tier you need for this last pick.
5.
Tier 5? That means he gets Gorbis if he doesn't pick anything real quick.
Not a bad pick.
No, that's a decent tier 5 Pokemon to have. Though you cannot Baton Pass speed, so can't Shell Smash Baton Pass.
That's true.
But you can definitely just Shell Smash.
Yeah. Shell Smash, Ice Beam, Hydro Pump.
Yeah.
Power Grass.
So he's going to get Gorbis because that's what happened.
Robert, you spelled it wrong.
I fixed it. Nobody noticed.
I noticed.
No one else saw it. It's fine, Joe. All right, so it is my last pick. Let me pull up the clock and let me talk through it with all of you.
I was looking at Clefable.
I was looking at Clefable. I was looking at Weavile. I was looking at Skarmory. I think it's got to be one of those three. And I think each of them offers me something different.
2 Dark types.
I know I have 2 Dark types already. Which is why I don't want Weavile, but I do want a knockoff user. That's not Marowak.
You don't think mitigating the option of like spikes with and rocks and stuff like that wouldn't be effective with Clefable?
Well, then the other thing is that Skarmory gets spikes. I have no spikes coverage right now.
Right. Does Skuntank get toxic spikes?
No.
No. I think it's between Skarmory and
Clefable.
To be honest.
I do too.
I don't think an ice type Pokemon benefits you as much.
Yeah, I think it's down to Skarmory and Clefable. They do similar but different things.
Clefable's a little more of an attacker. You get a little more bulk out of Skarmory.
I think I'm gonna go with Skarmory here. I think I have to do it.
Do it.
That's my pick. That's my last pick of the draft. It's going to be Skarmory. And, so that's what we're going to go with in this last pick of my draft. And the final pick of the draft, the Missouri Magnazones. So, Joe, here at the end, I was like, I need some bulk. And I was like, give me Umbreon, Skarmory. Like, Latias. Need bulk. I've got Mega Venusaur, Umbreon, Skarmory, and Latias. That'll be a fun team to deal with. Fun team to prep every week, that's for sure. And with the final pick of the draft, Nick is going to take Aerodactyl.
Cool.
A really, really solid tier 3 pick to round out the draft. All right, guys. So that is the draft in its entirety. That will be the end of the stream for this evening. If anyone wants to see the draft, the teams, etc., that's all on the draft, !draft Google Doc, and you can take a look at that. The first battles will be taking place October 13th through 15th, so not this weekend, but the following weekend. So prep your teams and get those all ready. And thank you all for being here for the draft. Thank you all for hanging out and getting this done. And special thanks to Oblivion for jumping in the middle of a draft and taking over a team.
We're going to give Oblivion another pick?
I'll talk to him about that after.
All right,
and I'll make the league aware of it. But wow, do I feel terrified right now. I don't think my team holds a candle to some of the other teams. But that is what it is. I'm excited for the future of this season and moving forwards. And if anyone wants to make sure they are subscribed for my team builders and my battles, !YouTube, click on the link and click subscribe. With that, everybody, thanks for being here. I will see you next time on the stream. That's on Friday. Bye-bye.